Hi, this is Dave from Heroes Needed, just one of the many fine shows you can find on the Nod Network. Visit us on nerdod.com or subscribe on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever else you get your favorite podcasts. The Witcher. Very easy to just lay that out in a sentence. It's a man who hunts monsters and has magical powers. Cool. Big fan of it.
You like Game of Thrones? You'll like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Disappointed by Game of Thrones last season? Watch The Witcher. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nerd OD podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Dan.
Oh, jeez. Oh, car
stupid
crash.
Never get that right.
Oh, never. Anyway, yeah, Dan, Red, Sean, Dave. Hi, everyone.
And
special guest.
Jesus, Sean, who's doing the intro here?
Can we do that again?
Nope, I'm just going to go with it. So we've got with us this Alex Blackburn. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's great to have you. Great to have you. I don't know why it's turned into a radio interview show, but it has. Yeah. Thanks for joining us on a lockdown Monday evening.
No, thank you very much, yeah.
Someone else take it from there because I'm out. I'm done. That's me. That's me for the whole episode.
It reminds me, the start of our episodes always reminds me of, have you ever played that game where you're supposed to count from 1 to 10?
That's not a game.
Isn't
that
that like Kiss
Yeah.
Chase or something?
Yeah, so
You
like...
gotta count 1 to 10 without someone else saying a number at the same time. That is definitely Skype podcasting in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can kind of bounce off each other when you're in person, but with Skype, it's like all we can see right now is Alex, and that's it. So technically, Alex is coming from your lead right now.
You can see in everyone else's eyes when they're running low on conversation, can't you? So you're like, all right, I need to jump in here.
But we've got so much to talk about this week. I think it's been pretty exciting. We've got that project that Dan's just finished, and finally, one thing I liked about that, Dan, the Bare Naked Ladies thing, is the fact that you put your name on it for producer and editor. Because
I have a small feeling this might get fairly well passed round in the right circles, and I have no job, so it would be pretty good. If a band saw this and was like, oh, wow, look what these fans did. Oh, that guy, he's pretty good at this. Hey, would you mind doing this for us?
That's what I mean. It's like,
that'd be great.
There's only so long Dave can hang on your coattails of all this work that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I'm in a similar situation on something myself.
Really?
Like oh, yeah. I'll probably go into that a little bit later.
Oh, we like this teasing segues.
So if you're listening,
is he doing a Bare Naked Ladies project as well? Is that why you're on this pod?
I've got a Bare Naked Lady at home.
Hey, speaking of putting your names on things, I have a story to open up with, if you all don't mind.
Is it about George Foreman and his grill?
It isn't.
I'll put my name on it.
It is. It is so good. But you had 9 kids all named George. Isn't that insane? Even the girls.
True.
George.
How
did he differentiate?
Well, he didn't. They were all called George. You got a George, you got a kid. Simple.
Right. George, dinner's ready. And then I thought it's done in one.
How efficient is that? You're not calling it 9 times. Exactly. You're just saying one name.
It's not like when Cletus in The Simpsons is shouting all his family in for dinner.
Yeah,
exactly. Like Brandine, Billy Bob, Lucy Joe, Susan May.
Think how efficient he could be if all the kids are just called George.
Exactly.
No, anyway. Speaking of putting your name on things, so a few years ago, a couple friends and I, Tom Oldham, Paul Thorpe, shout out there. They're not listening. Maybe they will. We made a film, which was a fake documentary, a mockumentary, if you like that term. I hate it, but never mind. About the making of a British porn film. So, and we called that film
Shooting in the Rim.
Shooting on the Rim. Thank you very much.
I still haven't watched that. I'm so sorry.
I want to. Please send me a link.
So we're getting to that. Sean, I'm disgusted with you for not having seen the film.
We've been friends for so long.
So two very good things happened in 2013. One, I got engaged to my wife. That was quite nice. Number 2, we made this movie, and so we wrote a script in 3 weeks. We shot this film over the course of like 4 or 5 weekends, and we paid everyone, which I'm very proud of. We actually had a production where the cast and crew were paid. From
think that would be a measure of success
in independent film, Sean. I think you'll find that it might be.
That's a good, really big achievement, actually. Being able to pay them, yeah.
And so many productions are based on exposure and the rest of it. And we wanted it to be a case of, yes, good, cool, exposure is great, but you can't feed yourself with it. So we paid people. I'm sure they would have liked more money. I mean, who doesn't? But but we made this film, and it's 85 minutes long. It is we've got score, we've got visual effects, we've got all kinds of cool stuff. It's funny. I still think it's funny. Has it got flaws? Of course it has flaws, but I love it. Right? It's a passion thing. I love it. We've had it on Vimeo for years, which to those who don't know what Vimeo is YouTube, but for other filmmakers, which is why a few people actually know about the damn thing.
Very, very good quality, though. That's the difference.
Very good quality.
That's why you'd want to put it on there.
You tell most people, and they go, "What the hell's a Vimeo?" Which is why no one's seen my damn film. Anyway, a few nights ago, a friend of mine sent me a message on Facebook and said, "Hey, have you seen this?" and sent me a link to a film on Amazon Prime Video. And it was a film called Some Adult Content. And reading the synopsis of this film, it's basically my movie. Okay.
Wow.
When was that produced?
Last year.
And when was yours?
Back in 2013.
Oh, come on, Dave. You're going to be rolling in it.
So, anyway.
Do you need help with it? Do you need help with a copyright lawsuit? Because
we might get there.
Yeah, Sean will start a resolve a claim for you.
So I took this information. And I went to Tom and Paul, and I said, "You won't believe it. Look at this thing." And I shared it with them, and they were equally as shocked as I was. Because look, it's not the most original idea in the world, but it's like beat for beat, right? So we went through it, and one of Tom actually watched their film on Prime. Bumped their views up by one, and he actually went through, and there are a few key plot points in our film which the film is framed around, and they copy them, actually have the same beats in their film. However,
what was your blood pressure like at that point?
Oh, I was it was some rage there. It was some real rage, because my thing is if you there's so many films out there that are shameless copies of other films, right? Like that happens. I know it happens, but really ours is quite a niche thing. Like, first of all, no one wanted to see it because they thought it was a porn film, and we're like, no, it's a fake porn film. It's a documentary fake. Oh, so it's a porno. It's not a fucking porno. It's a fake porn film within a documentary that we made. Anyway, so that was hard.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm sorry.
I love that. I love it.
Sorry, Reg. But so it's that kind of thing where it's not a common thing, but it's not going to be the most original thing in the world. But there's key things in our film. So there's an accident where someone is injured. That happens in their film. There's a character that is, and I don't want to give spoilers, but there's anyway, with lack of spoilers, because don't worry, I'll get you all a link after this. There's a few key things that actually happen in their film, and I'm like, those are not things you just kind of just come up with on the fly. I mean, we did.
Because a mockumentary of people making a porn movie, I'm sure there are some coincidental plot points that are going to happen. Whatever.
But when 4 or 5 of them happen in the course of the same runtime, you're like, hang on a second.
Wow.
However,
have you got any kind of copyright on the film?
I don't know how it works, because we did.
I think just by creating it, I think that's surely.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, so Tom watched the film and he was like, okay, it's kind of like our film, only a bit racist and a bit. There's a trans joke in there that doesn't land in a way that makes it okay. Yeah. So it's like ugh. So it's like, okay, so our film is this story, but in a way that's definitely not as that's definitely better, and not like in a it's mine therefore it's better, but like objectively, like theirs is a bit racist and a bit we don't have any of that. So I think in my head that puts us a little above them. But what this has done is it spurred me on to realize that I've never even considered putting the film on Prime. I'm putting it on Amazon. It just never occurred to me that was a thing you could just do with an independent film, but of course you can. So last night I pressed the button to hit publish on our film on Amazon Prime Video.
No way.
It takes a few days for it to go through the system.
Fantastic.
But hopefully by the end of this week, it'll be a film which you can watch, stream Prime, buy or rent if you wish, but you don't have to. Just watch it.
So you've got a BBFC certification and everything?
No. We've got a kind of guidance rating, because BBFC ratings are stupidly expensive because you pay by the minute.
So Dave, I can't
how
wait.
much they have to watch it.
I can't wait until you start getting hate mail from people saying you copied that movie. You copied this movie on Prime that was released a year before.
And I can send them a copy of the script dated 2013 and be like, eat it, bitch.
Well, they send them a Vimeo link and then what the hell's Vimeo? Just look at the date. That's all that matters.
Yeah, so the idea of some kind of copyright infringement spurred us on to actually do a thing we should have done ourselves years ago and never did. But hopefully at the end of this week it'll actually be on Amazon and we can take it down from Vimeo because no one gives a shit over there and share everyone the link for that. So
that's awesome.
Is it classed as a 2020 film now you put it up on Amazon?
Well, I know because I set the release date in the details when I published it.
Ah, fantastic.
So July 2014, baby.
Is that a Prime movie or is it going to be a you can buy it movie?
Both. But only in the UK because it's interesting guidance on Prime.
So do you get any revenue if someone on Prime watches it?
No, I don't think you do if they stream it, only if they buy it or rent it.
Right, okay.
And look, at this stage, I'm not looking to make a bunch of money off it. I just want people to actually see the damn thing because I still think it's good and I still think it's funny.
Dave, what's the film called?
It's called Shooting on the Rim.
I've got the link up, but I'm on my work laptop. So the first thing it says is it's a documentary about production of a British porno film. I'm like, I can't really watch that on my laptop because work is like, right.
Do you remember when we started podcasting and we were like, Sean was like, we can just get on YouTube on iTunes, dead easy. Well, straight, and suddenly this thing that seems totally inaccessible, it's just like, no, you just fill in this thing and suddenly your content is on iTunes. Is that what Amazon Prime is now?
You basically, yeah. If you fill in your production details, your dates, cast names, synopsis, all that kind of stuff, upload some images.
Really?
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's really great.
I'd never approached it because in my head, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought it was kind of, well, no, I know why I thought this, because Netflix is not that easy. Netflix is a whole process where you have to go through actual producers and shit to get anywhere near the channel.
Yeah, type of camera, certain tech you have to use, all that
exactly.
shit.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And we shot it on Canon 5Ds, I think it was, and a 60D. So it looks all right, but it's HD from 7 years ago. It looks nice. We put it on a projector once; it looked really good, but it's not. We're not going to win awards for technical achievements. However, Amazon Prime, it's that very much that kind of. There's a degree of equality to it where it's like if you've made a film, you can send it to them. It goes through a submission process, which takes a few days, but ultimately, if it's a film and you've provided the right information, I think it just goes on there, which would be amazing.
Well,
fascinating.
I would definitely say best of luck. I hope it works out. I like the fact that this film's got like a sort of second coming, as it were, because I didn't watch it the first time and feel a bit bad about it.
That's well done.
What's the poster like?
It makes me happy. It is. I can't. I'm trying to share it with you. I can't.
I've got it here. Oh no, that's just the title.
I'm just wondering what to expect when I look on Amazon in a few days.
Oh my god, I remember it now.
Did you find it?
Yeah, it's on IMDb, isn't it?
It is on IMDb. You're right. Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's a guy and a girl doing their thing, and it's got shooting on the rim in the bottom in what looks like cum font.
It's not a guy. If that's a thing. You are describing it all wrong, sir. You're making it sound like sleaze.
So while we're on movie production, I think this is a good time and a good segue to talk about why we've got Alex on the show in the first place.
I just jump in there. Has had 2,500 views on Vimeo. So it has actually been seen by people.
And
that's
the
really
best thing? You had a premiere at cinema.
I did.
You had a couple.
That would be amazing.
No, we put it onto the Stockport Plaza. We had it up for one night only.
But you had the other film on at the Odeon.
Oh, that was a short film. That was years and years ago. It's only because we knew people, and only because it was 10 minutes long.
That was also terrifying.
Was it expensive to host it at the cinema?
Do you know it wasn't actually? They took a cut from the ticket sales, and that was kind of it. Like they were pretty flexible because they were like a community focused cinema. I mean, it's a lovely cinema, the Palace. The Plaza. If you're there, it's a fantastic building and a really really cool theater. But yeah, it's basically like it was I don't know if it was a 50-50 or 60-40 split or something. But basically they took from the ticket revenue. And we had 200 odd people there for our premiere, so it's a legit actual thing.
That's superb, mate.
And I was so pleased because people showed up because obviously we had a bunch of friends who were extras in it, obviously, as you do. And a bunch of them came because they thought their friend who they worked with had been in a porn film. And they're like, no, it's not a porn film. And they're like, yeah, you bet it is. Let's go and watch it.
Did you go in a tux?
I didn't, but I had a really fetching scarf.
Was there a red carpet outside? That would be amazing. Could you imagine shooting on the rim posters in the background and you're just stopping and people are talking about what you're wearing?
Sean, I'm going to send you a photo of my red carpet, and you can see that it was an actual thing with a marquee. Sorry, you guys can all carry on chatting. I don't want to monopolize it with a...
Am I right to try and segue again? Is that okay?
Please segue.
So, talking about movie stuff, I wanted to introduce why we've got Alex on the show this week. So Alex is a good friend of mine. I've known him since high school. We went to a school in Chester. God, how long ago was that?
97 when I left.
Jesus Christ. I mean, but you stayed for sixth form, didn't you?
The first year, yeah, and it was the worst decision.
See, I didn't. So it would have been like, so me and Alex were basically 90s pals.
Yeah.
Which is, like, really weird to think about, actually. Like, back in the days of breakfast at Tiffany's. And
the Epic Cinema in Ellesmere Port.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, nice, my hometown. Love it. It's not there anymore.
It's not.
No. Can't believe they've actually smashed it down. I'm still heartbroken every time.
Burnt it to the ground. As chavvy as all hell.
I only ever watched Stargate.
Well, actually, I remember, and this is how a lot of my childhood memories end. They ended up closing it down and tearing it down. The Odeon in Chester. Like, I remember when it was a group of us when we were in high school. We used to go and watch films all the time. And this was like in the days of, I can think of some of the films. It was like Independence Day. What's the film about?
The National Cinema Day, where every film was £1.
A pound a film.
I went to see 4 films at the Odeon in
we all
Bromborough.
did, yeah.
I just want to say what the films were.
Go on.
Went to see Space Truckers. Do you remember Space Truckers?
Yeah.
With Dennis Hopper in it. Empire Strikes Back, because it was on a re-release, as was Return of the Jedi, and The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element was
3 amazing films, and at 9:30 in the morning watching Space Truckers as the first one, it didn't really start the day off well.
I remember one. Sorry, Sean. I remember one particular it was usually about 15 of us, something like that, in the group.
Yeah.
And at one point there was Michael Collins with Liam Neeson as the guy that started the IRA with Alan Rickman in one of the other roles. And the other film we wanted to go and see was The Island of Dr. Monroe, where it was Marlon Brando, and it's a horrific movie.
Yeah,
that film is horrible.
I think it was myself and Pete Carville that decided we want to go and see Michael Collins because Dr. Monroe looks like shit. And everyone else went to see Island of Dr. Monroe. We loved Michael Collins.
I remember that day. I remember there was a movie that I didn't want to watch, so I was like, no, I'm just going to go for a walk. And I went for a walk around the race course, and it was really muddy. And you guys let me go. And I was like, I'll be back in an hour. I'll see you later. And then you all came out of the cinema, and I was fucking black with mud. And you were like, "What's happened?" That's so weird.
And we
used to go to Superdrug across the way as well. I remember to get like popcorn and stuff.
That tiny Superdrug.
Yeah, they chuck you out now. Cinemas don't let you. Well, on saying that, I don't know. It's been a while since I went to the cinema because lockdown. Do you remember cinemas?
What is cinema?
Yeah.
But yeah, that film day was awesome. But that was in the same region as, say, Independence Day, the one about the volcano. Actually, there was 2 at the time.
We went to see Volcano.
What was the other one?
I've seen them both. Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak, yeah. And Mars Attacks. I remember that was an era of my life that if you went into my bedroom, there was just all these A4 size posters everywhere. You know, the ones that you'd pick up for free.
Yeah, the Odeon in Bromborough, absolutely.
But that's my history with Alex, as well as some embarrassing parties.
Glorious moments, mate. Glorious moments.
I remember that Alex was always the guy that used to come in with something that you'd bought that we'd all go around and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I remember specifically one thing. It was the Star Trek box set. No, sorry, Star Wars box set. Yeah. Do you remember when they had a gold one and a silver one for the widescreen and the 4:3?
Yeah.
And it was the first 3 films because they'd remastered them. That's why you'd watched it in the cinema, because they'd remastered them, brought out on VHS. Yeah. And you brought the VHSs in, and it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I knew then that you'd do something to do with film. And of course, looking at the stuff that you've been doing recently, it all ties in. You know, you've been pretty consistent with what your interests are, throughout the years.
I totally agree with that. And we're all trying to strive, no matter what we're trying to produce, we're all trying to strive to make better content and better looking or better stories, really, is the kind of golden point. And we started this festival, the Isolation Film Festival, 7.5 weeks ago. And we thought we'd get 10 submissions. We've had 80 now. And wow. They're from all over the world. So we had 2 from China recently, Australia, Israel, Canada, US, Colombia, France, Germany, Portugal, New Zealand as well, which was fun. And we've started a podcast alongside it called The Filmmakers, and we're interviewing as many as we can. And we've had great success with that. And it's giving people a creative outlet in this time, which is great, and giving people a focus. And I've been more creative in the last 8 weeks than I have in the last 5 years, which has been insane. Because when I started on lockdown, because I worked for the University of Chester as a videographer as well, when I was in lockdown, it was really difficult because I'm usually surrounded by people, working with people that way. And it was incredibly difficult. So I thought, right, let's start it with someone else. And then it's kind of blossomed from there, really. The worst thing that's part of it is the admin. Oh my God, the admin. All the emails and everything. It's gone crazy.
Is it like
we have done for that?
Yeah.
I remember literally the internet things all in a nutshell.
I remember entering film festivals, and the admin around it is insane, because the film I mentioned earlier, we did submit to film festivals. Weirdly, not many takers for a faux documentary about a porn film. Oddly, who'd have thought? But yeah, the admin for just submitting to it was huge. So the idea of running one and dealing with that many entries, I imagine, is nuts.
It is crazy, but it's really fun as well. And we've got everyone that's been involved. It's all been volunteers, because obviously we just can't afford to pay anything yet. But we've just secured a judge, an absolutely massive music video director, and we're having a couple of special awards. We've not announced awards or anything yet, because we just want to do it in the right way, and they're kind of in a really high standard. And
get paid for it by the nominees, right? And the winner.
No, there's no submission fees. It's completely free to enter. And the music video director is called Vance Burberry. This is the first time it's been mentioned outside of this room, effectively.
So not exclusive, everyone. We've got a not exclusive.
What's a great name?
So basically, he directed, Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses.
Wow. Yeah.
He directed that. He's got over 1 billion views on that one video.
Jesus.
And he's directed a bunch of other stuff. Alice Cooper, Limp Bizkit, Celine Dion, Britney Spears.
I'm on his IMDb. He worked with Garth Brooks, so that's
nice.
He told me about Garth Brooks directing him for that music video yesterday. So I was on the podcast with him for about 40 minutes on Skype, and it was incredible. And he's judging our cinematography award now.
That's insane. You know what? Just to pick up on something you were just saying about how many submissions you've had and how it surprised you, and I've taken a look at the comms that you're putting out and your socials and stuff, and they look professional. They look they look legit. They look like a thing, and that's one of the. I mean, I could sort of relate it back to my knowledge of how when Apple first started and Steve Jobs rented a suit to make himself look like he wasn't working from his fucking garage. You know what I mean? And this is how we've started, being able to talk to the kind of people that we have done, do the videos and the interviews with the people that we have done, just by pretending that we're something bigger than we actually are, and tricking people into thinking that we're a thing.
Do you remember Dennis Pennis?
I do. Yeah, he's in.
When he started off, he had a microphone that wasn't plugged into anything, and he was doing the fake interviews. No, it wasn't. They didn't know who he was, and because he had a microphone, they thought he was legit, and he was just standing with a press corps.
Well, that was the thing. That I remember the first couple of press passes that we managed to get. It was because of the fact that they were coming from like legitimate email addresses of websites that we put together, and we could give a few examples of some of the events that we'd been to in the past. And it wasn't. We're not like an established company or anything. We're just a couple of guys that are doing what we enjoy doing. That Dennis Pennis thing's interesting though, because he's made it now. He's in.
He's a terrific actor.
What's that Gervais show? The
Afterlife.
That's season 2. Yeah, he's in that.
He's a shrink, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays an arsehole in that as well. I mean, he's just death.
He's in a series on Netflix called Lillehammer. I don't know if anyone's seen it. And it's got Steve Van Zandt from Bruce Springsteen's band, and he's in The Sopranos. He's one of the big characters in that. And Dennis Pennis, or the actor that plays him, he's in that show, and he's absolutely fantastic in that. So his acting has gone through the roof in terms of his output and what he's been on now.
Wow,
that's one of those shows that I've seen, and I really enjoyed Steve Van Zandt in The Sopranos. The Sopranos is a show that I never watched in its entirety. I know that that's a mistake because I should have, but whenever I saw parts of it, I always really enjoyed him in the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I saw Lillehammer, and I was like, I should watch that, and I totally have not.
It is fantastic. He got cut short, sadly. It's one of those things, when you find out a show's been cut short, do you invest the time in watching the first 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have that problem with shows that I know have been cancelled or are going to be cancelled, because I get properly invested in stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the most recent thing to give you an example of is the OA on Netflix.
100%. It's my favorite Netflix show. I love Stranger Things and all of that, but the OA was castrated before it was given a chance.
100%. My story around the OA was we went to. In fact, the guys were there. I think Dave and Dan.
Were
there. We were at an event where he was talking. The guy from. He was in Walking Dead, and he was the dad.
You always do this. You bring him up, and then I've forgotten his damn name.
I can never remember his name. You know what I'm talking about, the old guy.
I know who you mean. Of course I know who you mean.
He died recently. He played Herschel in Walking Dead.
Yeah, and it was so sad that he passed. I mean, because he was such a nice guy, and I remember him dropping this spoiler.
Scott Wilson.
He dropped this spoiler in this stage because he was on a Walking Dead panel. I put my hand up, asked about the OA and what it was like, playing a character in Walking Dead versus the OA, which took. And he was talking about how much he really enjoyed it, and he said, "Has anybody here seen the OA?" There's fucking 400 people in that auditorium. Me and Dan put our hands up. You know what I mean? Like, there was no one else in there, but he chose.
It's such a well-constructed show,
but no one knows about it. That's the problem. But
it has. Sorry, Sean. It has possibly the best cliffhanger in any TV show. The end of the second season.
2. Yeah, I had to watch that twice. It's one of the only shows that I watched and then stopped and then watched again. I watched that twice in a succession of the amount of times it would take me to watch twice. But no, in the answer to his question, when he realised there wasn't many fans in the room of that show, he dropped a spoiler and he said, "I'm not in season 2 much, but I will be in season 3."
Oh,
like, oh my God. And of course, this was before they found out that they'd been canned, but they had. They must, from him saying that says to me that they must have already had, production planned, and they'd already talked to cast about it. You know what I mean?
Well, did you guys hear about that leaked memo from within Netflix about shows that if they don't get as big as Stranger Things, they've got a maximum of 2 to 3 seasons, and they will just get canned straight away.
Shit.
Wow. The head of production for Netflix, and is it Britt Marling was the main actress, and Brad Pitt was like a co-producer or something. They talked about, with the head of Netflix, about a 5-season arc. They had 5 seasons scripted.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was all game for it. The head of production, she was like, "Yeah, we're great. We love this. We love this." Season 2 drops. They don't market it properly, and then it just sinks.
That was the thing with the OA. People didn't get it. I think unless you actually put the time in and watch the show, everyone who I know who watched the show loved it. And everyone I know who didn't watch the show was like, well, what is that? What is that about? Because it's quite hard to sum it up in a sentence.
Of course,
like there's so many shows like The Witcher. The Witcher was the Stranger Things. Stranger Things is nostalgia wrapped up in a supernatural show. It's just all. Did you like E.T.? Yes. Okay, well, you're probably gonna like this because it's the 80s. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Stranger Things, but we're trading on too much nostalgia now. It bothers me. But you can sum that up easily. The Witcher. Very easy to just lay that out in a sentence. It's a man who hunts monsters and has magical powers. Cool. Loved it. Big fan of it.
You like Game of Thrones? You'll like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Disappointed by Game of Thrones last season? Watch The Witcher.
Yes.
So, but the OA, it's like you can't sum that up in a sentence.
There's no sound bit
so
to it.
Weird.
There's no,
it's so
do you remember
weird.
when you were trying to describe it to us, Sean?
Yeah.
You were like, the best thing is the first episode, it's about an hour long, and about 50 minutes, suddenly the credits
roll.
Say, this is what you're watching.
Alex,
right.
That was one of the things that I loved about that show, hands down. Like, fuck the story, fuck the acting. The fact that they dropped in the opening credits in minute 50 is fantastic.
When she sits down to
start telling the story.
Selling point, though.
Absolutely.
No,
I tried watching it, and I was like, this is apparently supposed to be amazing. And then we watched it, and literally when it hit minute 50, and the credits came on, Ash was like, oh, thank God for that. That was shit. And I was like, yeah, it was a bit. But oh no, it's still going.
But from the perspective of someone that's always looking for something new, because there's so many films out there that have, standard intro, something goes wrong, and then there's a resolve at the end. Like, to be able to break away from that in a way that isn't cringy, I think is really enjoyable. One of my favorite things about it being cancelled was the rumor, and I'm still holding out some hope that it might happen, but it's probably not, is the rumor that because, like, if you think about what happened at the end of season 2, they came into the real world, didn't they? They broke that fourth wall.
Big spoilers.
Listen, it's 2 years old. We're not getting any more.
No one's watching.
But I was really excited at the spoiler. Somebody suggested that the cancellation was actually part of the show. And that would have been, if they would have pulled that off, that would have been fantastic. If they just would have secretly filmed it and dropped it and involved that the producers of the show in the real world had cancelled the show, to help them.
That could work. That could actually work.
It could have been amazing. They won't do it because that would be amazing. But I mean, yeah, such a shame.
I had only for people that have watched it will understand this, but I had a cosplay. I've got a cosplay I'm actually working on. I'm not joking, from the OA. So the next time Jason Isaacs goes to do a signing, I'm going to look like I'm in a fish tank drowning.
How are you going to do that?
Oh, I know exactly how to do it, because you make a tank that's circular around your head, but you actually
water around it.
Yeah. So it looks like you're drowning.
That's amazing.
It's so those scenes in that show are so dark.
Yeah,
are so dark. Yeah.
I mean, that show in general was like there weren't a lot of happy moments in it. Like there was lots of, oh damn, okay, you did that, right? Okay, well, let's try and move on from this moment. Not easy. Speaking of things coming back like that and being cancelled, the story about the original series of Star Trek. Star Trek only had, was it 3 series in total before all the films?
The original one.
The original series had 3
Oh, yeah, because then you had the motion picture, didn't you?
Exactly.
It was really early on and bombed.
After the second, I forget if it was the first or second series, it got cancelled. And there was a grassroots campaign, one of like the first really in TV, to get the show reinstated.
Bring back Firefly.
Well, yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Nope.
But there was a grassroots campaign to get it started. The only thing is, it was mostly bullshit. So there was a woman called Bijo Trimble who somehow someone in my family knew them somehow. I think my dad knew him at some point back in the 70s or 80s. And she knew Gene Roddenberry, and she was like the head of like the overall Star Trek fan club at the time. Back before the internet, so you can imagine how that was a slow mover. But basically, Gene Roddenberry found it was going to be cancelled. Something to the effect of he spoke to her and was like, "This is happening," and she's like, "Well, that's shit. We want more of the show." So she went out to the fan club and got them all writing letters including she herself wrote lots of letters under different names and stuff and bombarded the studio with it. So it looked like it was this huge like grassroots campaign. And realistically, it was just one person kind of driving it to get people to bring the show back. And because they then did, obviously that then led on to films and other series. And to think that if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't have had any other Star Trek after all that, because it would have just been cancelled after a year or two and no one would have been bothered. It would have just been cast to oblivion.
If you think about how much came from Star Trek with regards to, films like, even like cult stuff and, things that have happened in the world, like that would be so weird. I'm not the biggest Trekkie, but a world without Star Trek would have been very different.
Yeah, there's actually a show on Netflix that the fans came together and it actually got a Christmas special and then a third season. It was Sense8. Have you seen that?
I fucking love Sense8.
It's Wachowski sisters, isn't it?
Yeah. So Lana, I think it was both of them, and Lana was the director. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you see that Christmas special, there's a sex scene in that film in a toilet stall, and it's got 8 people. But with the way the world,
this film is called,
the way it shines. That show
it's incredible. That scene,
so good.
Exactly. That's one of those when you have a connection with a show, there's something very personal about that as well. Even though they're completely wild characters, it's something that like I really want this to do well. Yeah. I really want this to do well. And when it got cancelled, I was absolutely devastated. I think this was before OA as well. And then a Christmas special came out, which is mad. For any show to have a Christmas special now is insane. And then another season, I'm like, what has happened? And it was like a golden thing I've not watched yet, so I'm kind of savoring it.
It's another thing kind of like the OA, though, isn't it? Like Sense8 is quite a hard one to sum up in a sentence.
Absolutely.
Because the idea is just mental. And it's like, you lay that out and you're like, I'm sorry, what happens in that show? It's crazy. But no, great show, though. A great example of this.
So just while you're mentioning the Wazowski, what was that? Wachowski?
Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis
is Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Have you seen the who was it? Which one? How do you spell a name?
Wachowski. Wachowski. Are you talking about the tweet?
Yeah, yes. Fantastic. So you had Elon Musk and then Ivanka Trump retweeting him saying, take the red pill. And basically she responded to Trump's tweet directly saying, fuck both of you. Absolutely brilliant. Because like she technically owns that line, right? Like that's fair to say. And if your content is being used to support like bad opinions, I just love that she's defending that.
The worst part is Elon Musk. Like I drive a Tesla. I love the car. I think Elon Musk is a fucking he's a
psychopath. Absolutely,
he's an absolute. And the problem is he's now fallen into this weird kind of right wing camp of our freedoms. It's like put a fucking mask on. Like it's not a big deal. Put a mask on. Don't kill people with your breath. Like that's all people are saying. Oh, it's my freedom. Shut up, Elon. Go live on a boat somewhere with your money, and just go do that. Like leave the businesses, leave the rocket ships. Just go away.
And stop dancing as well. Stop dancing. Have you seen that video?
Oh God, no.
It's horrific. On stage in like Japan, it was crazy.
I haven't brought myself to see anything like that.
It's like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz asked to break dancing.
Oh God.
It's not like it's not like the guy from Microsoft coming on and shouting developers, is it?
Steve Ballmer's fantastic in that moment.
Jesus Christ.
It's a key moment of computer history for me.
Give it up for me. Okay.
Steve Ballmer being insane. Speaking of things gone past, I just saw that today is the 30th anniversary of the release of Back to the Future Part 3.
I love that. I love it.
I think it's massively underrated, Part 3.
They did 2 and 3 back to back, didn't they?
They did. And I think my favorite Back to the Future story is apparently, and again, I think this is true. It's one of the ones that comes out from an interview, I think. And it was Michael J. Fox didn't. The first thing he found out about there being a sequel was when the VHS of Back to the Future came out, and it had at the end "to be continued." That's the first thing he knew about there being a sequel. So he immediately got on the phone with his agent and made sure that he was definitely in the sequel. because he didn't actually know about it before
Who was
was
that?
going to happen. Michael J. Fox.
Oh wow!
The beauty of the modern day internet is the College Humor made a video. Sort of giving a new take, a new opinion on what Back to the Future could have been like. You know, the first one where Marty ends up fucking his mum, and Doc's like, "No, we're gonna have to stop this from happening. We're gonna send you back in the past to stop yourself from fucking her." And then there's just this car scene where Marty's mother is having a foursome with like 4 different Martys.
My God.
Jesus.
have
any of you heard that story about Crispin Glover, who plays his dad in the film?
Mm-hmm.
About him getting pissed off.
No, the image rights.
Oh yeah.
About how they had the mold of his face, because obviously they're making an older version in the current day, or 85, and they used, because he ended up got fired. I think it was for the second one, and they used the inside of the mold to create a younger version of him and put it on some other actor.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is no wonder he got a payday from that. That's insane.
Oh yeah, he got a massive payday years later. Yeah.
I mean, and what's frustrating is the fact that, because that was all over money, wasn't it? That was all over wages.
Oh yeah, he wanted a massive pay hike, and they were like, "Nope." See you later.
That's the thing; they would have saved a ton of money by just being like, "Okay," you know what I mean? Yeah. With the amount of money they had to pay him anyway. Nah, no one won in that situation, apart from Crispin Glover.
Yeah, it didn't have to work, so it got paid.
Yeah, I think the audience won because the films, I love the third one. I know a lot of people say 1 and 2 are the greatest, but the third's a lot of fun as well. It's almost like a big hug, isn't it, the third one, between the two of them.
I don't have anything against any of them.
Absolutely.
I love them all. It's like having 3 kids, you know? But it's not like that with Indiana Jones. I would have aborted the 4th one.
Oh, don't get me started. Do not get me started.
I never saw the 4th one. I'm just in sheer principle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
The 4th Indiana Jones.
I
remember.
What? No.
What? I've not seen it.
What are you talking about? I'm just going to cut that entire thing out of existence.
I've never been so angry leaving a cinema. Seriously, I wanted to
watch it.
I went to a midnight showing of it.
I watched it recently, and it's like, yep, still shit. Because I always thought, since Jurassic Park, you know, the whole mix of live action and animatronics and how beautiful those scenes are in the rain in Jurassic Park, I thought, what a great mix of live action, practicals and all that. As soon as you see Shia LaBeouf swinging through the jungle like George of the Jungle, it's like, no, absolutely no. This is an abortion of a film. It's horrific.
See, the best thing that Shia LaBeouf's ever done was be in the Rob Cantor video for actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf. Like that is one of the greatest songs and videos on the internet, and that was for me the peak of Shia LaBeouf's career.
Yeah. Just sitting on his green screen.
Yes, of course.
There was a guy that used to work for Apple called Jordan, and he went to see it with a couple of mates, the new Indiana Jones film, and apparently halfway through the film he said quite loud, so everyone could hear, he was like, "If this is aliens, I'm leaving." Like,
it wasn't. It was not aliens. It was interdimensional beings.
Right, but apparently, I love this.
I don't know why I'm defending it.
When the UFO shows up, you know, when the spaceship shows up,
the interdimensional space.
Apparently stood up and just went, right. Just walked out.
Oh, amazing.
Never looked back.
That was probably the most entertaining thing.
The one scene in that everyone hated, but I loved, was the thing with the massive explosion when he's in the fridge.
Mm.
I love that.
It was just the physics that people were disagreeing with.
It's amazing. yeah, totally.
But you know that's a recycled scene from the original end to Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was originally in the original storyboards of Back to the Future. The way that they were going to get Marty back to his time was he was going to drive through Los Alamos, the nuclear testing site, and the explosion was going to be harnessed into the flux capacitor and send him into time.
Oh, wow.
Well, also, there was a thing about a fridge as well, wasn't there? That fridge was going to be the method of time travel, but they didn't want to do that in the end because they were worried that kids were going to get into fridges and just end up fucking killing themselves.
There's an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine where they use a nuclear explosion to travel from Roswell in 1949 or whatever forwards to present day. Well, present day in the show.
I love Deep Space Nine.
It's great. Best one.
They're all shit.
Can I just real quick while we're thinking about it? Because I also saw that it's on this day in history, both Star Wars: A New Hope, if you will, and Return of the Jedi were released.
Oh wow!
On May 25th. Wow. And just to put out there, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, the final series of the Clone Wars that was on Disney Plus. I just watched the last episode today because I've been putting it off for some reason. The last 4 episodes of that series are some of the best television I have watched, animated or otherwise, because the last episode, so little happens, but it is so well done that it is a perfect kind of rounding off of that series. So if you are a Star Wars fan, if you haven't watched Clone Wars yet, do watch it. Because I will say the final season's got 12 episodes. 4 episodes are good. 4 episodes feel like filler with characters that I genuinely didn't like. And then 4 episodes were some of the best TV I've ever seen. So
I've heard that, to be fair, that the last couple are just, like, especially the second to last one is just
that one is
best piece of TV ever.
It's fantastic. They finally find a way to kind of overlap it with the films in a way that feels right. Like the idea of having little snippets from the film within the animated show, which kind of sets the timeline for you. It's
that's clever.
So very well done. Very, very well done.
I have a question. So we've got a quiz coming up later on. Is it on Friday? Talking to Reg and Dan.
Oh right, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and I've been asked.
Great for everyone else in the pod.
Well, yeah, and I've been asked to do 5 questions.
Yes.
And so I've done my
Please
5
don't
questions.
do them Tesla based.
No, so I've done my 5 questions as a video, and I've sort of tested it on a couple of people, and I'm worried that I've gone too hard. So I'm not going to tell you what the answers are. I'm just going to tell you what the premises of the questions. So I've gone for film, right? And it's showing the distribution company, but that has slight variations, or like a familiar song or a familiar sound that plays, or that they change, like they change the color of the Village Roadshow logo, for example, or one I was going to use, I haven't used it, but like for example, Pirates of the Caribbean, when that first starts, it zooms out from the Disney castle.
Okay.
And as it goes past, it shows this little.
So we have to guess what film it is based on the altered logo.
But I'm worried that it might be a bit too hard.
I think you've got the wrong crowd for it.
Well and truly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still going to try it, but like,
for what it's worth, I used to when we went to see films.
Great.
Back in the cinema days when cinema was a thing, I would pride myself on being able to name the production company before the name came up from the intro. So that it's not something I'd be into, but perhaps from Dan and Reg's response, perhaps not something for the audience that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it took me like 20 minutes to do, so I'm not going to change. Like, I'm just wondering, can you think of any films that specifically like either alter the
Matrix, the Green Matrix, the Village Roadshow?
Yeah, brilliant. Anything else?
Scott Pilgrim, the Universal 8-bit thing, Team America, Universal, when you blow it up. Which that from the beginning, when I watched that in the pictures, for some reason, that made me laugh, and I missed about a quarter of the film because I was just laughing that hard at that bit. And then when I watched it back the second time around, I was like, "You're gonna love this." I think I was watching it today. I was like, "Just this is amazing." And then I didn't laugh at it, and I watched the first quarter of the film, and I was like, "I missed so many funny jokes because I was laughing at the fucking Universal scene for no reason."
There's some that I put in there that are really obvious, and there's some that I haven't that I think would be potentially too obvious. Like the I wanted to put the Lilo and Stitch one in, but I think that would only be obvious to me because it starts with a beeping sound, and it's like a green Disney logo. But there's a couple more. There's
I just sent you a link to 25 movies that changed their studio logos in awesome ways.
Oh my God! Dan,
it wasn't difficult to Google.
The image that's on that preview is
Tron, isn't it?
Tron Legacy.
The first video I used.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Thank you. So the first
that's some deep research, Sean.
Well, I used that because I wanted to get a Disney film in there.
Wait, so you know when you said we all need to come up with 5 questions for this quiz thing, Reg? You meant the number 5, not the 90s boy band 5. Because I've come up with loads of questions about Jay and Abs and
well, I was waiting for Steve to finish until I could say you got it wrong, mate. When we said 5 questions, I want to know, what do you slam dunk?
Yeah,
that's the first one. Who's getting down?
Yep.
There's the second question. I'm trying to remember.
Proves that he ain't got no manners.
All I can remember is the dances. I can't remember the lyrics, but I just remember the 5 dances to the 5 songs for some reason.
Is there any way you can delete a link? Because you need to delete that link that you put in that chat.
I'll be honest, mate. I have little to no time to do anything at the minute. So
I mean, I've only used probably 2 of them, but okay. I mean, I can't believe the one I've used, the number 1 clip that I've used, the first clip that you see is that one in that fucking preview there. That's ridiculous.
And in all honesty, yeah, I think you've probably gone for like the hardest one out of I think what everyone's going to be
based
doing.
On the people that are there. It's based not just
the people that are there.
That's a shame.
Definitely.
Some of Ash and Reg's friends as well.
Yeah. That's what I was going for, because like no offense to them, but I genuinely don't believe that like those would understand the concept of it. Especially because they're probably going to be smashed before we even start it. So
yeah, cinema staff would love that. Cinema staff would love that.
That's why
a very small group, but they would love it.
Maybe I should play it now and then do new one. No, I'm not going to. No.
No, well, we can't. This is not a visual podcast.
Can I just check that everyone else is seeing? Has Dottie hacked our chat here?
Well, Dottie just puts messages saying I've joined. He. He did put up a tweet, a rather cryptic tweet the other week saying occasionally I hack into their podcasting sessions. So I'm assuming he does this quite often.
Wait, I do not sneak in.
No, you're testing out XSplit, are you?
Brilliant.
I thought I'd stick my head in and say hello.
Why not? Hi, Daddy.
On the hour mark, he's like, right, hi guys.
Yeah. Six-way podcast. This is stressing me out.
This is brilliant. Right, so actually this is a key learn for all of us, that we need to set up different rooms for
one without Doddy.
Sorry, Doddy.
It's fine. I thought I'd just sneak in, hide in the background, see what it's all about.
Doddy, Alex, Doddy's our dungeon master. We've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for the last couple of weeks.
Amazing.
We're actually all really enjoying it.
Is Alex joining us?
He's here.
He's already
Alex,
on.
Are you coming to play?
Oh, playing Dungeons and Dragons.
When do you play?
Thursday nights. Have you played before?
Yeah, that might work. I haven't played for years.
See, I'd never played before like Doddy introduced me to it last year, and I ended up being a proper psychopath and enjoyed it, so I kept on playing. Anyway, before this gets too out of hand, I think, because we've only got like about 5-10 minutes left, haven't we?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Reg.
Yo.
You've got a new thing.
Oh my days! We've got 10 minutes left, and that's all he's allowed to talk about. This.
Oh, okay. Oh, should we do it next podcast?
No, it's fine. Let him start.
No, let's do it. Reg, you start. Go for it
now, and then a whole podcast next week, because I'm really excited. How long have I been talking about the Oculus Quest? You know what I mean?
Well, you've just ruined what it is now.
Sorry.
Nice one. I didn't even get to do that. I was going to tell you all about the playhouse we got for Oliver.
Oh,
because that's well exciting. That's great. But if you're not into that, I have just got myself an Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's fair. Like I said, I've got the PlayStation VR, so it's not like it's my first foray into VR. I genuinely love it. But I predominantly got the Oculus Quest for Pistol Whip. And so far, I've got about 9 games, and I've played Pistol Whip non-stop. Like, it got to the point where Ash is now just like, when I come out of the headset last night after having a quick test of it, she was like, I'm now terrified to sit here because like it's just
she's going to get pistol whipped.
Yeah, but she was like, you rave dance when you do it, and you can't help not rave dancing because the music. It's like, if you've not seen Pistol Whip or heard about it, it's basically a rhythm action shooter.
Can you put custom like you can with Beat Saber?
Can you what? Sorry.
Can you put custom songs on like you can with Beat Saber?
Not yet, no. But basically what it is it's you start off and it's just you're on a track just going you're walking through corridors, but it all looks very like Super Hot as you're going through. But
Super Hot. Love that game.
You genuinely feel like you're John Wick. So like every time you fire a bullet, it's to the beat of a tune. But
that's amazing.
If you don't turn off the auto aim at the beginning, like the assist at the beginning, like every sort of shot you make will, if you aim in the right place, will be a headshot. So it makes you feel like really strong and dominant. But even if you turn off the headshot, you can like the auto aim. If you still get a headshot, it's phenomenal. But the tunes are so addictive, and you can't stop dancing when you're waiting for everything to turn off. But it's like,
is it on offer at the moment? Because I know a lot of the games are, because it's 1 year old this month, isn't it?
Yeah, the Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's only £20, and it's the sole purpose I got it. So it's so fucking good. But I've got like I've got the Vader the Immortal series. I did get Beat Saber, just because I know if I don't, I'll just get lashed by everyone. And yeah, it is fun, but it's not Pistol Whip.
Yeah.
What else did I get? I got Red Matter, which looks pretty awesome. Vader the Immortal was actually pretty fun. I spent most of the time in the dojo. I say most of the time, the 6 minutes I gave it to be like, oh, this is good. You play some smuggler who basically gets caught, and it is amazing. You don't get the whole for people who've played the Battlefront mission in VR on the PlayStation, that when you first put on the headset and the AT-AT walker just goes past you, and then you get to sit in the X-Wing for the first time, and you genuinely do shed a little tear because it's your childhood that's just like pow. It's just like fucking so surreal and amazing and just the most beautiful thing you've ever done.
Boom, right in the childhood.
Yeah, you don't get that feeling with it, but it is a great Star Wars feel, like when the stormtroopers come running in at you and pointing the guns at you like point blank range and stuff.
There was one moment though, Reg. I mean, you said about how it doesn't give you quite that same like, oh my god, this is my childhood thing. But I would say there was that one moment, and it's a shame because it's like within the first like 2 minutes of the game, and then I didn't experience a moment quite like it. And it's when you walk up to the front of the bridge of your ship, have to flick a few switches and then throw the lever to go into hyperspace.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing where you've seen them do that in Star Wars hundreds of times. Flick a few switches, choose a handle, boom, stars go. It's really cool. I did that, and I was like, and it's that kind of the bit of feedback you get with the Quest of grabbing something and feeling that kind of like shudder of the handle, and you're like, okay, yeah. And then throwing the handle and be like, I just jumped to hyperspace. That is fucking cool. So.
And I do love the hand tracking as well. I've got a few apps now as well, like the Wizard ones and stuff, where it uses a hand tracking. So you don't have controls at all. It's literally, you just use your hands and it does everything, which is great. Like playing some of the stuff like creating the potions and the fireballs and stuff is amazing because you genuinely use moving your hands like in a ball position to craft a ball, so you feel like you're going Super Saiyan, which is fucking awesome.
You need to try Quake VR. It's so good.
But then the whole downside to that is that you don't get the vibrations and the feedback that you said that you do get with the Quest, which is a shame. You do miss that in some of the stuff. I do want to sideload it, and that's probably going to be tomorrow or like Friday night. I'm going to have a quick go sideloading it. But I need to stop. Like, it's now installing something just so I can play more Pistol Whip when I get off this.
Awesome.
So good. But yes, I am genuinely happy with it. And Steve, you need to send me a link to where you got your NerdOD sticker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've still got some spare ones, so
you've not given us any.
I'll send you some. And on that note, I think this is a good time to thank Alex for joining us.
Can I just say one thing? I'd like to invite you guys to pick the best comedy and animation award for our festival.
Oh my word!
Oh, awesome!
Oh, wow!
So what I'll do is I'll work our logistics online in terms of setting up like a private YouTube access for all of those films. So I'll group them all together, And then I'd love it if you guys were part of the conversation and part of the festival.
Awesome. Was this an audition?
No, thank you very much.
Testing out our comedy chops to see if we were...
Sean, by proxy, Sean already had that, you see, so because of all his live stuff he does, he's always very funny to watch.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Reg.
Well,
you can tell he's fucking native, can't you? No one else finds him funny.
Especially when he's talking about his punctured B&Q thing outside. What's it called?
The hot tub.
The hot tub, yeah. It's always going on about his hot tub.
Well, I mean, the last video I did, the live one that you were in, I was talking about unpacking my shopping. That's what it's brought me to, this fucking lockdown. And I love how different the reaction is. Alex, like, I want to let you judge our comedy films. And Reg, when he came on to watch that video, was there for 13 seconds where he said, "I'm out." That's all it is. Right, so, I'm going.
As a bit of a reference to that, obviously I was working when it came through, and it just came up in the corner of the laptop going...
unboxing.
Well, it didn't even say that. It just said Steve has started a live video, and I was like, oh shit, does he want to speak to me? And it came on, and then it just seen you rocking back and forth or something. I was like, what's going on? Right, people are talking, so it's not just for me then. What's going on? And you're like, I'm just unpacking my shopping. I was like, well, fuck this then. I'm working. Like, I don't really care if you've got Kenko or what you've got.
So, Alex, have you got any links you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Just go to isolationfilmfestival.com and same on Instagram. And if you guys can work out a graphic you'd like, we can put it on our site, kind of advertise you guys, and then we'll incorporate into the poster, the winning poster, which will be sent out worldwide. So we'd love to have some sort of, like a friendly partnership where we can enhance what you guys do, which is great.
That sounds like a Dan job to me.
I will send you my headshot at any point you want, so you can use that as the Nerd OD logo.
What, just your face?
It's beautiful.
Listen, I've really enjoyed this week, guys. I've been Sean.
Steve. I've been Reg.
I'm Dave.
I'm Dan, and everyone's scared to say their names, aren't they?
I was waiting to see who was going next.
Exactly.
And it's also because that implies that it's over. We say our names, and that's when we're done.
And I'm Doddy.
There's Doddy.
Oh yeah, you're still there, Doddy.
He's still there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.